Does using a fountain pen with a straight edge or ruler affect tine alignment? Or is there a correct way to use a fountain pen with a ruler to get straight architectural lines? This is good. I don't know that I've been asked this question specifically, or maybe I haven't in a very long time for Q&A. I know I've never taken it before. But I would caution you a little bit about doing that, really just because when you're talking about using a straight edge, specifically I'm thinking like it's probably going to be some kind of aluminum or steel or something like that. It's probably going to be something metal. Maybe not. Maybe sometimes it's that like Lexan type plastic, but you know, if you're using something technical, I'm thinking it's probably like a very straight aluminum thing. And if you're taking that nib and you are pressing it, you know, rather forcefully up against that straight edge and drawing it over and over and over and over again, I can't imagine in the long term it's going to be really great for that pen. So if you're going to do that, I would say stick to a less expensive pen for one. But they actually make technical drawing pens, which are not super popular today just because pens in general have changed quite a bit. A lot of technical drawing stuff is now done on computers and stuff like that, so physical doing it with pens is not as popular as it was back in the 70s and 80s, right, as you would probably imagine. But there's a pen that I have never actually used myself, but I've heard a lot of other people using, called Rapidograph pens. If that's even how you say it properly, I'm not actually sure. But they work similarly to fountain pens. Now the ink I understand is a little bit different. It's a little thicker. It's more like a calligraphy ink. Then there's special like technical drawing ink that's light fast and things like that. They're actually probably a little even better for that purpose than typical fountain pen ink. So that's what you use in those pens, and it's kind of more like a felt tip pen, or maybe like a roller ball that has a fountain pen feed mechanism in it that uses this like India ink of sorts, and that is what people use for the technical drawings. And that's, you know, it doesn't use a nib per se, but it uses a writing tip, and that's how you use it. So I imagine that might be made to withstand doing the drawings a little bit more than just a typical fountain pen nib. But honestly, the fountain pen nibs are pretty tough. As long as you're not really wrenching into it, it would definitely work for that purpose. I think you just might, over a number of years, need to replace those nibs or the pen altogether if it's really wearing down on it. I could imagine that being the case. So if you wanted to go ahead and use a fountain pen for that purpose, you know, I think that's okay as long as you understand what it is that you're doing. I do think the Pilot Metropolitan would be a really good pen for that purpose, especially the fine nib, because it gets pretty precise. And I think it would work really well, and it's not a huge investment either. So that's one that I would definitely recommend that you try out. I think that could work pretty well. The Lamy also might not be a terrible one because you can get a replacement nib for it. Replacement nib costs almost as much as a Metropolitan, but that's a whole other thing. I feel like an extra fine Safari could work pretty well for that purpose as well. So I think that would pretty much do it, but really that Rapidograph pen from Koh-i-Noor, I think, is like the brand that makes them, you know, most universally today. But check that out, and I think that might be able to be a good solution for you if you don't want to go the fountain pen route.